I think this is the 2nd or 3rd time I've been live this week. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Tamira. I am a certified digital marketing strategist, 30 years of sales marketing and leadership experience, and it's a very exciting time, a very exciting time. Like, clearly, we are in the final days of this election. I'm not really gonna talk about that. And when I do, it will be from a marketing standpoint, okay? And that is not because I'm afraid that there are people who don't agree with me politically. Like, if you know me at all, you know that that definitely is not what deters me. I want to analyze it and speak on it as a marketing professional because that's how I do things. And if you followed me for some time, you would know that that is typically how I do things. I'm gonna analyze it through a business lens, a marketing lens, a sales lens, a leadership lens, right? That's just my steelio. That's just how I do things. So, whether people find that polarizing or not, I really don't care. Really, really don't care. So, but we're not here to do that today. There is a lot that is going on and coming out in the world of marketing, sales, leadership, the things that I know, do, and love so well. So if you don't know me, my name is Karen Lewis. I'm a certified digital marketing strategist with over 32 years of sales marketing and leadership experience. All that to say that I live, eat, breathe, sleep marketing, sales, especially digital marketing, right? I've been known to say on my lives that I'm kind of like a lawyer, but in the world of marketing instead. And so what I mean by that, when a lawyer is on a case, they look through case law, they look through, their library to find precedent and to come up with their strategy. And that's literally what I do, but only from a marketing not from necessarily standpoint. And I'll admit, especially in like the last few months, I've kind of gone back and forth. That maybe I shouldn't harp on marketing so much. Maybe I shouldn't do marketing, marketing, marketing. And I have always shared more pieces of me in what I'm about, right? Like hearing right now, you see what I mean for me. So I share those things, but to come on here and talk about relationships, I will add my 2 cents here and there. But that's just never going to be right. Sorry, what I am. Like, my gift is teaching. So I come on and I teach. It is the value that I was chosen to bring to the world. And so that is what I do. Okay. Now I do like bringing on other people, having other people, kind of interview them. I've been featured on plenty of guests. I've been fe- I've been featured on plenty of podcasts and a guest blogger and all kinds of things for over 10 years, right? And so the things I'd like to talk about include personal branding. If you read my blog, follow me, you know that I say you are the brand, you are the content, you are the algorithm. That is my field. And I'm standing close on that hill, and I will continue to stand 10 toes on that hill, right? So personal branding, sales psychology, sales leadership, sales tracking, pretty much anything sales, right? In my career, I have been a top performing salesperson, continue to be a top performing salesperson, and more importantly, I have cultivated an environment where successful people thrive in sales, right? For $1 trillion, okay? I've managed hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in assets. I mean, you have a pretty impressive resume, right? So when I come on here and I bring my knowledge and expertise, people tend to listen. Okay. And so one of the things that hit me, I get a lot of my news from the clock out. these days. And one of the things that hit me is that Gen Z is getting fired. Employers are just not feeling Gen Z in their quote unquote shenanigans. And so I kind of dug a little deep to see what was going on there. Because I'll be honest with you, I feel like what Gen Z is going through, I don't think there's a single generation since Gen X who hasn't gone through, right? Let's go through the top three things that employers are citing as to why they are frustrated and fire Gen Z employers. Number one is lack of motivation. 50% of employers observe a deficiency in initiative among Gen Z employees. And this is coming from the poor communication skills would be third. Second would actually be unprofessional behavior. 46% noted a lack of professionalism in the workplace, and 39% reported that these employees struggle with effective communication. Okay. And I feel like I can actually empathize with Gen Z on this. 'Cause I actually interned and worked in the real world, in real corporate America for the 4 years prior to actually joining the workforce after graduating college. But I can relate to this because there are things that I would notice when I would hire a junior manager and associate manager, and lack of motivation, wanting to come in and just rise to the top, right? I have a video on my YouTube where I talk about someone told me that I was intimidating because I knew the job, right? And the implication of me knowing my job so well was, oh, so you basically thought I was in a permanent leapfrog over me. But thank you for sharing leapfrog over me super quickly. And that's just not what was going to happen. You found, oh, she actually deserves her job. She probably deserves the job above the job that she has. And I didn't realize that that was going to happen. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay? And so I can relate to bringing on people fresh out of college because the company, they hired me fresh out of college, right? And so I got promoted after like 2 years, and so I'm in a position where I'm making hiring decisions. Um, I'm noticing like, oh, they're coming in, they have a degree, but they have no idea. My girl Nisha Mohib, actually, she's in accounting. She actually was the first person I saw post about this, and that's one of the things she was talking about. Like, if you don't know Excel, you're going to really have a hard time keeping a job. Much like I say, if you don't know sales and marketing, and guess what? Part of sales and marketing is we use a lot of spreadsheets. In my mastermind group, they call me the spreadsheet queen. In fact, that was part of my branding. That first job out of college was I was the Excel queen. I knew spreadsheets because in my internship, guess what? I created and managed a lot of spreadsheets. Like a lot, right? Like, remember the story about how I started tracking the bookings for the sales of the Evergreen SKU for the brand that I worked on the first summer there, right? So these things are all interrelated. You have to have effective communication skills. Now, I went to my undergraduate college was all about communication, and they told us you guys will be able to be here and be much better communicators than most. Like we had to do presentations in all of our courses, but even for the years before that, we were having to do lots of presentations with public by going live. Not that difficult of a task for me as an intern. Not to mention I went to the School of the Arts in undergrad, I mean not undergrad, in grade school, and in middle school I was on stage in plays and theater and stuff like that. So being on stage and speaking in front of others, I'm not gonna say that there haven't been one or two times where I might have been a little nervous, but usually I'm not nervous. Cannot really even think I'm truly nervous. So that is part of I think that whole coming of age and the educational system. I will also say that I am blessed in that the undergraduate college that I went to, a lot of our professors were not just professors, they actually came from the workforce and worked in the field of what they actually did. that gave us a couple things. Number one, it gave us connections to be able to go out into the workforce and get those internships and get those jobs. And the university, the college itself also, and built relationships with the companies in the area to be able to provide those opportunities, not only for internship, which I didn't do unpaid internships. I had a kid. But, the internships and then helping people to find jobs and through the alumni association. Okay. And so they made sure that we could communicate, right? And I had the brilliant idea my freshman year to take a college study skills course for a credit. And they actually taught some things like Excel and that. But I mostly learned Excel, but actually the precursor to that, Lotus in my internship working in marketing for a major consumer for a major consumer company. So here's the thing that I think is missing from this. I think what is missing is that Gen Z was not raised to be employees, and we have to come to terms with that. I don't think Gen Z was raised to be employees. I don't think they're employees, and that's okay because as a society, we have to figure out what we're going to do with that and how we are going to approach that. And I think it is coincidental that we live in a time when AI is going to be is already replacing lower skill, lower income jobs. So I don't know that it's the worst thing in the world that they are not created to be employees. I think they are much more suited for like the gig economy. I think they are much more suited for freelancing, for building their own businesses, for gig work. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And I don't see that. So I think we are in a very interesting and transitory time. As we know, by 2030, between 2030 and 2035, the 9 to 5 as we know it will be extinct. And so if it's extinct and someone is in 2024 coming out of undergrad, that's just in the next 10, 9, 10, 11 years. So they're just a little bit ahead of the curve, right? One of the things my children love to say is college isn't for everyone. Because yeah, I did. I assumed they would go to college because I wanted to go to college, but they just don't see the value in the college education. I would agree with that, but one is like trade schools and this and that. And it's like, okay, if that's what you want to believe. That's fine. I know what I see in you. I know what you are capable of. But if that's what you choose, I have no choice. And I don't reluctantly, I wholeheartedly support it if that's what you choose to do. Okay. So we have to understand that number one, the college education system as it is needs to be including the fee structure and all of that. It needs to be changed, right? People need real world application. I don't think that equivalent work experience means what most of y'all think it means. Y'all think it means that you have a shot to get at just about anything that you want, but that is one of the things that employers are complaining about when it comes to Gen Z, and that is that Gen Z doesn't have the work experience. Well, if they just graduated from college, no, they don't have the work experience. And so, what programs do you have in place to get them the work experience? For example, the company that I was interning at, it started out as one summer, I went back the second summer, and then they hired me to work part time throughout the school year. And that was to create this funnel of college educated in work experience people to hire from, right? They didn't have what we have to look at are these companies providing a pipeline, a system for Gen Z, the younger folks, to get the work experience that they're frustrated and they're saying that they don't have. Because how can you expect them to have the work experience coming immediately from high school, coming immediately from college? So in that respect, equivalent work experience becomes an even bigger hurdle than an education, in my opinion. Now, somebody can in comments if you think I'm wrong, but it seems to me that becomes an even bigger impediment. The real issue is not that they don't have equivalent work experience; it is how are they. And I think the other thing that employers have to understand is if I went to school with Billy Bob, and Billy Bob is now on the internet street pulling in 4, 5, 6 figures a month, that's what you're competing with as an employer, like it or not. You're competing with them. Gen Z has something other generations did not have, and that is the ability to leverage free apps, social media apps, like Google Docs, like Canva, and create an income that can surpass any that they can get working a traditional job with or without a degree. And companies have to understand, and they have to understand why would somebody choose to go that route? What is that giving them, and how do they then address that, right? Because like it or not, they are competing with, because there are people who are going to work the traditional job and still be building income online as they should, as they should. I did it for as long as I could. The problem is some employers become jealous and they don't want you to be able to have the flexibility and the freedom to be able to walk away from their job. They literally want you held hostage to their job so they have control and they can dangle their job over your head and get you to really talk, and get you to comply, get you to submit, right? That's the whole name of the game. Get you to comply, to get you to commit, to get you to be chained to the move. And Gen Z has more options because it's interesting because I haven't heard this from Gen Z. This is in the media, and quite frankly, after the last few weeks, I don't even know how much I trust that the media is not even just creating the story and spinning it. Because does Gen Z talk about being fired, but are they talking about it in tears and wondering what they're going to do next? No, not from what I've seen. Why? Because they have options, they know them, that they have them, and they exercise. They know one goofy video that goes viral can change the trajectory of it. Now, is that a plan or a concept of a plan? You choose. They know that they don't have to be feeling like they've got to work a job and stay at a job at a company in the boss that they can't stand because they've got children, they've got bills, right? I think Gen Z is also as well where it's like housing is so high, food is so high, everything is so expensive that they kind of don't, they kind of don't care, and that's why they exercise a lack of professionalism. I don't know that it's ever been demonstrated to them. I don't know that they even design for that, right? It reminds me of, because I'm a part of a lot of different communities, and there's one community in particular that's very boomer driven. And because it's very boomer driven, the marketing language gagged me. The marketing language is like a catalog from the 70s. It is horrible, the marketing language that is this community, right? And it's just wild. And Gen Z does not react to that kind of language. And then this same community members will complain about not getting any traction or any results from social media. And it's like, because you're marketing them through the catalog of the 70s, that's why you're not social. And while Gen Z may or may not be your ideal client, if you want to reach your ideal clients on social media, you have to play the social media game. You know, algorithm, just pumping out content where you're promoting, asking. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. Like this one trick pony thing of the only type of content I know how to create for my business is high pressure, high conversion, high promotional. You can promote your business on social media and not do any of it. People can know your business, will get to know you without you doing any of it. But it takes strategy, it takes willingness. And this whole idea of, well, my clients are hiring me, you know, 6 figures, 5 figures a year to be in my mastermind, be in my group, and this and that. And it's like they exist on social media, and people are getting clients from their content that are paying them. It can happen. It is happening, and it does happen, right? So Gen Z is getting fired. It's not entirely their fault. I have clients of mine who are high ticket clients, and they buy things like DBA for their children. I'm thinking of one client in particular. She bought DBA for her son, and now she's even willing to pay to basically be an accountability coach for him to learn what's in DBA and put it into front. Because I think some parents are realizing their children are just not. There's a difference between being workforce ready and being workforce material. A lot of these children are just not workforce material because they've seen people their age making millions of dollars from creating content. So to them, a job is, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. To them, a job is not the only way for them to be able to take care of themselves. And so the fear of not having a job that I once had in my life, they don't know that fear because they've seen and experienced enough people not have a job and still live very good lives. Whereas for me growing up, to see someone without a job, that typically meant they were on drugs, they were an alcoholic, they were on welfare, they were impoverished. Those were the types of things that I saw and experienced and knew to be true for adults who didn't have a job. And so I had a very, very strong, like, body chemical changing fear around being an adult and not having a job. And as I've said before, even if you take jobs that I probably should have never taken because it was like I'd rather have that than not a job because I saw how people spiral and how quickly you not get a job. Well, Gen Z doesn't see that. They don't know that because they know regular everyday people. They've seen people without an education, without work experience, strike viral gold online. They've seen Mr. Beast. My grandson, he to a certain age thought Ryan, the little toy boy from YouTube that did the toy reviews. Well, he's grown up now. He just things, but he's not fully grown up. But as he's changed, when his business changes and his audience adapts with him, he's grown from watching Ryan and knowing these kids know and they understand that Ryan is going to do this. They know, right? So he's seen Ryan, and now he looks at Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast is and what's the other one? Jake Paul or whatever, Logan Paul. So they have a different world view, whereas my world view was if you want a nice home, you want a nice car, you get a good job. And for my grandparents, that college degree and filled out, not the degree part, the actual working in these people's corporations. Why? Because I'm just not the workplace material. It took a long time for me to come to that conclusion. I'm just not. Can I be? Yeah, but for a long period of time. No, when one person sees that box, and there's a lot of bureaucratic and political stupidity for here. Am I a great leader? Absolutely. I would definitely hire me in a book, and I do every day. But I had to understand that and come to terms with it because when you come to a strong, good people tell me to. Like I had a cousin who said, "Well, you don't work here." Like, no, 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 I don't mean that. Well, but I'm like, yeah, but that kind of stuff, that stuff comes from like if your value is intrinsically tied to your work, right? And at that same time, the work that I do, a lot of people don't understand it because it's not tangible. They will understand if you start a business with, as a hair salon, a restaurant. They understand those things. Even we're doing marketing and social media marketing, and you're on Facebook. You're on the internet all day, and that it takes a lot of brain power. I spent this morning combing through and analyzing headlines and putting it in a spreadsheet, right? Even clients, you have to remind them, well, if it were that easy and you could just do it yourself, you would do it yourself. And I don't care if it takes me 30 minutes to do it. It took me 30 years to be able to get to do it in 30 minutes. You owe me for the years, not the minutes. You owe me for the years, not the minutes. Go back to what I was talking about the other day. You will not exploit me over and beyond what I'm willing to exploit myself in the name of serving others. It's possible. It's how I sleep at night. It's how I wake up every morning, knowing that I provide value to the world. I know my uniqueness and I exploit it and service to others. But if you think there are, that's the problem with them. A lot of people just want to play this exploitation. They want to fight with you, they want to protest with you until it comes down to who's going to replace the person that they just knocked off of the oppression hierarchy. And someone wants to be the new person at the top and be the new oppressor, the new exploiter. It's all rooted in exploitation. I'm not saying it's good or wrong. I'm just saying it is what it is. It's all rooted in, and that's why I actually like digital marketing because you're not exploiting in person. You're exploiting free apps. You're exploiting the opportunity. You're exploiting the opportunity to be able to get your message in front of people that you would not normally be able to get your message in front of. To be able to do business with people you would otherwise not be able to do business. That is the power of digital marketing. I had a heckler from YouTube the other day, because I said that small businesses are missing by not having digital marketing in their strategy. And I stand on that. They absolutely are. They are missing out by not having digital marketing in their strategy. You cannot have a business and exist in 2025 without digital marketing. Don't believe me? If there's a natural disaster in your area, how do you communicate with your clients? Right? Now, of course, if telecommunications and that are down, nobody can. And they probably aren't looking for you. But what's the first thing they try to do is get the telecommunications back up. And so you want to be able to communicate the status of your business, the projects or work that you are working on, and you want to be able to communicate that quickly so that people know, right? You have a new product or service. The first people you should be talking to that about are the people who already selected you and made at least one transaction. Right? A lot of people don't even understand that. Just because somebody bought from you once does not actually make them a customer. They had one transaction. What makes them a customer is the actual relationship. That relationship is made through nurturing by sending them content, inviting them to events, emailing them, emailing greetings to them, wishing them happy birthday, engaging on their content. But I know a lot of y'all don't like to do that. And I'm very honest with my clients. Like if you don't want to play the engagement game, that's fair. But you need to be engaging them and not expect a return on ad spend in the traditional sense. You need to be using paid dollars to get your content in front of them, your website. But a lot of people, smaller one person businesses, look at that, they hear that, and they think if they spend ad money, that it should just turn around and get them sales. That is only one reason. There are multiple, I think Facebook has at least 9 reasons to run an ad. Do you want to build brand awareness? Do you want to drive traffic to your website? Do you want to generate leads? What is the reason? What is the reason that you want to run the ad? Do you want to drive traffic to a blog post and get people going to your blog to get to know you, like you, right? And to begin to trust you. There are many reasons to run an ad, and it does not always equate to more sales. It can be registrations for an event. It can be leads. But I will tell you what, and I've been running Facebook ads since 2013. Running an ad for the very first time is going to be really tough and very expensive for most people if they don't have the right strategy in place. And that right strategy is going to include warming up a cold audience. Warming up a cold audience, right? You have access to a lot of the same technology and systems as say a McDonald's, but they have something, they have things that you don't, like brand awareness, much bigger budgets, proven technology systems, previous ad history. They have more data than you do, right? They have so much more data than you do. And if you don't have the data, that is where you are going to struggle. You've got to be collecting the data. And that's where digital marketing comes in, right? I keep trying. I know who's interested in what. And so when I know who I can go to start building the audience or whatever. Right? Even with TBA, I watched TBA this summer until I built up the audience on TikTok started there. I still had customers, multiple customer lists and communities and following that I could go to and talk to about TBA and have those conversations. And you have to start looking at it as are you collecting data? What data do you have, right? There's data that Facebook has that we will never see. And a lot of that data determines who sees our content both paid and organic. They have a much better indication of their user base to know who is more likely to interact with something. TikTok, all of them, Pinterest, everyone single one. But it is still up to you to be collecting data. and understanding who it is that you serve. Remember, it only takes 1,000 fans. It only takes 1,000 fans spending $100 with you a year for 6 figures, right? 1,000 fans can get you to a million, but it's got to be strategic, the right fans. And that is why going viral is not always what you need to be after. If you go viral and you don't even have a viable converting offer, it was all for nothing. If you go viral and you don't have the systems and the automations in place, it was it might create more of a mess and more reputational damage than you are prepared to handle if you go viral and don't have the systems and automations in place, right? And that can be big budget on the back end to clean that up and fix that up, especially from a PR standpoint, right? There are cases where it worked, like Juvia's Place went viral on Instagram many years ago, and people were complaining about customer service and that, but they were able to get it fixed, right? But it was very, for a while, it was very tense, very itchy for a while, right? And I still think she's more of the exception than the rule, right? I'm not going to talk to you, know, I'm talking to you, hit dog real hollow. Hello, hello. Okay. So DBA, I am going to throw in a little commercial here. DBA Digital Boss Academy. It is a program in 2.3 volumes that will teach you digital marketing. So whether you want to start a digital marketing business and monetize yourself, or whether you have a business and you want to learn digital marketing to scale and grow your business, DBA is a great place to start. Okay. DBA Volume 2 includes Volume 1. It is modules on modules, things like branding, things like video editing, or there are so many different modules. And here's what you can do. You can go to the LINK and get the CP of DBA, what all is in there. But there is no better value in the marketplace to begin to learn digital marketing, right? A 90-minute session with me is $690, and you can get DBA Volume 1 and 2 for $222. That's all you pay for Volume 1 and 2. You might pay a $20 fee and then get access to Volume 3, which I do recommend. But even still, it is a great value compared to what it costs to do a 90-minute with me. Now, a 90-minute with me is worth it. It is so worth it, right? You're still confined to 90 minutes. Whereas DBA, it's yours for the life of the website and it being up in the community, right? So there's my little commercial for DBA. DBA is doing phenomenal things in people's lives, right? There's a girl in Jamaica who is who's literally like changed her and her family's life, right? Now, $1 million in Jamaica is not the same as a million in the United States. Let's get that off top. I don't even know how it translates. How it what do you call that? What do you call that? Converts. I don't even know the currency conversion on that. But yeah, so just keep that in mind, right? There's a girl, 16-year-old girl, who this summer made over $10,000 with DBA. So when I say Gen Z is different, that's what I mean. She hasn't even graduated high school and was able to make $10,000 over the summer. I worked in high school, and granted, minimum wage was like $3.80 back then, but there wasn't no making no $10,000 over the summer for me. For my kids who graduated in like 2010 and 2015. Gen Z, they don't care if they get fired. They look at jobs as disposable. They don't go into jobs thinking like I did, "Oh, I'm gonna work here for 30 years, 40 years." No, they're not. They know that companies aren't loyal to people, therefore they are not loyal to companies. And I'm not mad at them, not one bit. I do not I do not blame them at In other news, ChatGPT yesterday launched Search GPT. Right before going live, I had to go in and I had to change my settings. Somehow, I don't know what I did, but every time I went to search in Google on my laptop, it would go over to Chat GPT, to the Search GPT, which is kind of cool, but I'm just not there with Search GPT yet. I do love it though. Like I'm always searching my name and seeing what comes up, making sure my website and everything comes up. And um, long story short, I'm not going to get into all of it, but TamaraHamilton.com is just not ranking the way that I want it to on Google. However, when I search for me on Search GPT, my stuff comes up and it looks beautiful and it's perfect. So, people are saying goodbye, Google. I don't know about goodbye, Google. I don't know about goodbye, Google. Google is already, um, adapting and changing. I don't know if I could say at the forefront. I'm not well enough versed with it, but I think Google will be all right. I think they will adapt. They will be okay, if only in the short term. I think they will be. Um, you know, Google has to know that it's moving from SEO to AEO, which is Ask Engine Optimization, where you ask questions, and that's why things like voice optimization tells you my 4-year-old granddaughter knows to hit the microphone in a browser. She knows because her brother's been doing it for years to ask it to find stuff for them. They know how to shop online very, very well. They don't actually shop online. They find what they want and they take it to an adult to order for them. But he will be shopping online pretty soon, I'm sure. He already has, you know, cards and accounts. I won't say which ones. But if he wanted to, he would, be able to start doing some different transactions. So the skills that your kids and grandchildren need are not the same skills that you had, right? I'm a firm believer in reading, writing, and arithmetic in cursive writing. You never know when cursive writing might come in handy. Two, especially if you and your family know how to read it, but your ops doesn't. Same with learning a foreign language, at least the basics. I would say definitely in Spanish, right? Sales, marketing, content creation, AI, and soft skills, right? 'Cause that's what we're hearing. Gen Z is lacking on the soft skills. They are lacking on the soft skills. Lessons I had to learn in my career and lessons they don't like to talk about it, but millennials had the same issue. Like I said, I dealt with it in many 20 some years of corporate experience hiring millennials who just didn't have the soft skills, right? And then they get mad and blame everybody else against everyone else's fault. And I'm not saying everyone is some of the ones so it's things that we keep in mind that the skills that got us there are not going to be the skills for these kids in the future, especially when AI is taking jobs. And as we talked about yesterday, AI is also creating new jobs, but there is a skills deficit. There are not enough people with the skills for these high-end specialized jobs that are going to come about because of AI. Like AI prompt engineering is going to be one of the top jobs of 2025. It already is. Digital marketing, highly paid in demand skill set. for 2025. Writing, especially for marketing or sales. Highly, highly paid, in demand job for 2025 and beyond. Highly skilled. And that is why I love DBA. It was a done for you product. I didn't have to create it. All I have to do is do what I do best, create content, and people buy it. People buy it when I'm sleeping. People buy it when I'm on a walk, when I'm at the lake, when I'm out to eat, when I'm with my family. People buy it. And many of them I've never talked with known man in that they find my optimized content because it's not just Google. And that's why I don't think Search GPT is going to take Google out because if that's the case, TikTok would have taken them out because TikTok is a search engine. Pinterest would have taken them out. Pinterest is a search engine. It's not to say that Search GPT doesn't have the potential to, but in the short term, right? Because there's still going to be this whole adoption process. Not everybody is running Search GPT and using it today. Some people still haven't even used Chat GPT, don't even know what it is. Right? And of those who are using it, they're not even using it anywhere near what they could be using it. That's why I don't. There was like a nanosecond where I was like, oh, this might be. I might need to start looking at something else because if everybody can just go to Chat GPT for marketing and digital marketing, yeah. When I started playing around with it, like, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Oh, okay. So you got to know what to put in there. And if you don't know marketing, you don't know what to put in. But now I also have heard of somebody charging people and they're literally sitting on ChatGPT with them during their strategy session. That's weird. That is super. Now I will say I've been in strategy sessions where we might pull ChatGPT out for a minute, but we don't sit the whole session in ChatGPT. That's crazy. I mean, I get it if you know the prompts and you know what to put in there, but this person didn't even know what prompts. I could tell by the output and the advice that the person was given. Like that was bad business. You know, and that's the thing y'all have to understand. A lot of people throw around the word marketing, but they are not marketers. I know people who are operations. They're not even marketing operations. They're just operations. They like to make rules and they like to enforce them. That's what a psychological profile. They like to make rules and they like to force them. They like to be able to punish people and slap people on the hand. They are ops. They are not marketing. There are people who sell software as a service, and that is fine. But they are much heavier on the service than they are sales. And so to try to soft launch, they try to be a marketer, and none of it works. None of it works because they need to really up their sales skills. And again, being in marketing, especially at my level, it's almost like being a profiler, like on those TV shows. There are self-worth issues. There are money issues, money blocks as to why this person does not feel comfortable selling. And I am just gonna tell you this. The absolute worst person you should allow to coach you is someone who has self-worth and their own money issues with self-worth. Because they are not gonna give you the advice you need to get over your own money issues, the money that you so and that's not being absolutely for real. It's one of the absolute worst, right? I actually am more structured and organized than I give myself credit for being. Of my siblings, I'm one of the 2 most organized and structured. My sister, I don't know that she really is. I think she just does a good job of looking like she's organized. more structured than I am. I saw her bedroom on FaceTime, and I was like, "Oh, okay, okay, that's your one room you allow, okay." But anyway, um, so I don't give myself enough credit for that, so I can't even say what I was about to say, that some people are better off to go to someone who is marketing ops or just ops who like to create rules. Because 'cause I'm a great accountability coach, but I'm not gonna beat you up. I'm not gonna push, pull, or drag you. I'll just stop working with you. You gotta go find somebody else to work with. I'm a great accountability coach. Once I learned how to do it the right way, because I didn't know how to do it the right way. And that's the other thing with Gen Z. If you don't, you can, okay, when it comes to leadership, write this down. Expect what you accept and inspect what you expect. Inspect what you accept and accept what you accept. Okay. So inspect what you expect. So first you got to clearly state what you expect. And then two, you can't just like throw it out there. You got to look at it and make sure that it's happening. It doesn't mean micromanage it, but you got to, be doing checks and reviewing to make sure that what you expect is happening. And once it is and trust is established, you shouldn't have to check it as much, but you still need to check it, right? You need to have checks and balances in place, right? And accept, ACCEPT, means accept what you accept, EXPECT, RESPECT, right? That is basically like I was talking about yesterday with refunds and cancels. If your policy says absolutely no refunds, but because your poor sales process got people into your program who don't belong there, you within 30 days refund them and let them go on their way, then your policy is what you accept. EXCEPT. What you both accepted as an excuse because you accepted them into the program and then you ex- expected you expected, what am I saying? I'm saying it wrong now. You made the exception. That's a better word. The exception of, oh, well, in this case, we refund it. And that is your policy. You need to write that and make that your policy because accept what you accept. I'm twisting myself up. Let me write it down. Accept, accept, right? So there. Expect what you inspect what you expect and accept what you accept, right? So if you are always making all these exceptions, you're accepting all of these exceptions. That is actually the rule of law. You got to understand that. So that's the best case scenario of that. So when it comes to Gen Z, when it comes to millennials, when it comes to anybody, when it comes to your children, be it an adult, be it grandchildren, nieces, nephews, you have to clearly state what your expectations are. You also have to make sure that they understand what those expectations are, right? So one of the things I learned on the job many years ago, working with fresh out of college millennials, was to have them mirror back to me what I was asking them to do to make sure we were on the same page. And clients and I fluently do it with each other all the time. And there will be moments where it's like, oh, I'm so glad you clarified that. That is part of normal communication, right? And I can't speak on Gen Z because I didn't raise Gen Z, but I know the way that I was raised, and we didn't always get the most clear communication, right? You didn't know what was expected. You just did what you thought was expected and hoped it was accepted. And let me tell you, that's traumatizing. That is traumatizing. Now, I will say my perception of Gen Z is they are the result of many generations of "I'll give you something to cry about," and they are healing that. They are doing the shadow work. They are doing the self work. They are doing the personal development. So I really think corporate America's problem with Gen Z is really a corporate America problem. It's not necessarily a Gen Z problem. Now, I'm not saying they're not without their faults. I'm not saying that because, baby, a lie will spread so fast on TikTok. I mean, and it will escalate and escalate and escalate. A lie will spread real fast on TikTok, and they will believe it with their whole body and chest, and they're going to go to war for it. So they definitely have their faults. They're a little more, in some respects, a little more impressionable, a little more naive. But weren't we all like that? Weren't we all to some degree? Right? No, they'll be all right. We'll all be all right, especially if you take advantage of something like DBA and create income so you, no matter what generation you are from, no matter what stage of life you are in. Because, baby, Gen Z might be getting fired, but what about people in their 50s who just found out that the last Pepsi plant in Chicago is closing? So they've built a career there, and now they're about to be unemployed. Talk about starting over. Talk about scary. Hopefully, they have things like retirement plans and they bought like rental properties and done other things, but not all of them have. You know, not everybody did that, right? So it can be anybody at any time. Something I learned very early on: do not think you're better than anybody because it can be you tomorrow. I think you tomorrow. All right, it's Friday. I might come back on live later tonight, but I am gonna go. And if I go back live later tonight, it's probably just gonna be on the Clock app. I'm probably am not gonna be live on Facebook. I might put it on YouTube though, because I like to run the two cameras. I got two cameras going right now. I like to have the two cameras, so I have vertical, and then I also have horizontal. And um, I do have to be careful because sometimes, even though it's running to YouTube, it might be private and you might not be able to see it because at least I have it if I want it in the future. So don't always bank on it being on YouTube. Okay. But my blog, if you have not visited TamaraHamilton.com, what are you even doing? What are you even doing? That is where my content is housed on the internet. Just remember, if you don't have a blog, if you don't have a website, your content is homeless on the internet because we do not own these social medias. We do not own them. They can go away at any time. They can shadow ban you. They can take your account away. You know, your host could take your blog away from you, but that is a much, 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 much less of a chance, right? That can be a much, 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 much less of a chance, like almost non-existent. Like you gotta really do something bad, like I don't know, try to overthrow the government, try to overturn an election or something like that for that to happen. Okay, gonna heat up some food and get some emails and stuff out. But yeah, Gen Z will be all right. And if you're watching this in your Gen Z, you definitely should be downloading the sneak peek of DBA. Go to the LINKMIBIO. And I will see y'all on the next video. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed or followed yet, please make sure you do and turn on notifications